Hey global leader, trust building is a key component of global leadership. Because global leadership has many cross-cultural understanding challenges, the likelihood of misunderstandings is higher. Therefore, trust building in global leadership requires an extra effort and attention. Today, I will share with you the key elements to build trust in global workplaces so that you can create collaborative teams and healthy working relationships. Hi, I'm Tatyana Fittipaldi, and in this channel we make videos to help global leaders make impactful business decisions and become more effective, inclusive, and influential. We all know that we need trust in relationships of all kinds, and trust takes time to build and can be ruined in a matter of seconds. You need trust to build cohesive teams that collaborate and perform well together, to create good results and a positive working environment. If we don't have trust, this creates suspicion and bigger opportunities for misunderstanding. Managers all over the world report that it can take them 5 times longer to complete a process when misunderstandings are involved. And even after they accomplish the goals, the time and energy wasted makes them feel exhausted and unfulfilled. And building trust in global leadership to produce better and faster results take an extra effort because it has many uncertainties, ambiguity, and cross-cultural challenges. If you don't know what this effort involves, you might not even know what to do in the first place. Or worse, you might do wrong things that will hurt the trust building. Today, I want to share the key building blocks of trust so that you can be on the lookout for what needs to be done to build trust with relationships around you, even when working remotely in global settings. If you want to learn other skills involved in people leadership, you might want to watch this video later too. The building blocks of trust. Number 1, number of interactions. How many interactions you expect to have with a person can change the amount of effort they put into building trust. We never know though, for real, how many interactions we will have with a person. Every interaction with someone is an opportunity to build trust. The first interaction is often the most important one, and therefore the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first good impression. Because you can't know for sure if you will have the chance again to interact and build further trust. The flip side is that oftentimes when people know upfront that there will be only one interaction, they might not really care if they hurt you, since there will be no consequence or future interaction. For example, you might dismiss or even be rude to a vendor who is trying to pitch a new product to you, since you believe you'll never talk to them again. But you might behave differently if this person works for a company you want to apply for a job. In this case, you expect repeated interactions, maybe with them or people they know, and your attempt at a greater first good impression will be higher. Pro tip: if you want to build trust with someone, start by trying to identify how many interactions you will have at your disposal to build trust and reputation. Include in your analysis the interactions with other people who have access to this individual as well. The more interaction opportunities you have, the easier it will be to build trust. Trust takes time to build, and each interaction counts. Number 2, honesty and integrity. Well, we know that not everyone is honest and has the highest level of integrity. Every one of us encountered at some point in our lives a cheater, a liar, or worse. There are many studies that show that at least 5% of the global population is of backstabbers, people who will stab you in the back just to prevent you from succeeding. Nope, they won't gain anything with it. They just don't want to see someone winning. So it is perfectly understandable that in every interaction, the people involved in it are skeptical about us. Are we the 5%? Are we honest? Are we backstabbers? Signs of dishonesty or lack of integrity can hurt trust building, of course. An example of this is when you put in your resume that you speak a language fluently, and when you were tested during the interview, you show clear signs that you are not that fluent. That hurts you more than expressing the lack of language skill in the resume. Consciously or unconsciously, people will think that if you are lying about something simple as this, you might do even worse things when cornered. Pro tip: if you know you are lacking something that is needed, don't lie about it. Instead, show them what you are doing to improve it. State how you are improving and by when you want to accomplish a goal of improvement. This helps build trust not only because you are being honest, but also because it sets an intention, builds reputation, and creates a sense of reliability and improving competence. Number 3, reliability. Although sometimes people confuse lack of reliability with dishonesty, these are two different things. Reliability means to be reliable, and you walk the talk. You keep your promises. People can count on you when you say so. When people see lack of reliability in someone, trust building becomes challenging because people don't know what to expect of you. A key skill for reliability is managing expectations. If you manage well, people will see you as reliable. If you manage expectations poorly, they will see you as unreliable. One example of this is consistency of behavior. If you keep your promises sometimes and break them others, this is an inconsistent behavior. Inconsistent behaviors can give the perception of unreliability. Pro tip: it's better to tell people you cannot do something than break your promise and be seen as unreliable. Manage people's expectations by telling them upfront what they can expect from you or not. If you have trouble creating boundaries for people, hire an executive coach and work to develop this important skill. Number 4, reputation. Reputation is what people know about you without first really knowing you. Reputation requires an important skill that very few people possess: impressions management. Although it's true that first impressions are important, repeated interactions in business and/or communities will build reputation over time. Built reputation trumps first impressions, period. In other words, if you build your reputation after your first impression, your reputation will matter more than the first impression. The message here must be clear. Building a reputation is key to trust building, and it's long-run game. Every interaction counts. For example, you might be a shy person and deliver your elevator speech in an awkward way in your first interaction with your new team. Your introduction might give you off as stern and unarticulated, maybe even aloof. But through hard work and time, you show your new team members to be a good leader that can express ideas with articulation and confidence. In time, you grow the reputation of being able to lead ideas with conviction and good results, even though they know you are a shy person. Pro tip: define upfront what are the traits you want to be known for. Then map what behaviors will help you express that trait to those around you. For example, if you want to be known as a communicative person, arriving every day at the office without saying hello or good morning to your coworkers might not be a compatible behavior to build that kind of reputation. Number 5, intention. Some people can read you well, others less so. But one thing is important to note. At some point, your intentions will become clear, even if you try to do a good job at hiding them. This is what people often refer to as showing their true colors. If you enter an interaction saying that your intention is one while actually intending something else, you are setting yourself up for failure in the long-run game of trust building. For example, you might meet a potential client and invite them for coffee with the secret intention of actually pitching a sales speech in any first opening you have. Your prospect might feel hurt when they find out what your real intention is, as they might feel manipulated. A better way to approach will be to change the intention to really get to know the person and understand their real needs. If their needs meet your pitch, you can deliver it. Otherwise, you are just networking and will pass the pitch. One intention that is key in trust building is the intention of being respectful. It goes without saying that being respectful is important, but in global leadership, due to cultural differences, how to express respect can be different depending on culture and context. If you have the right intention, though, people will eventually understand where you stand, even if you did not get to express it perfectly right according to that culture. Pro tip: in global leadership, win-win intentions will create better results in the long run, because even if your goal first fails, you will not fail with the objective of building trust and a good line of communication. This means having the possibility to score goals in the future interactions and opportunities. And this is only possible with a win-win intention, since people will trust that you are not self-centered and egotistical when connecting and doing business. Number 6, ability and competence. You can be the nicest person in the world, the most honest person in the world, with the most impeccable reputation and intentions. Still, if you don't have any ability or competence to provide or share value in an interaction, people will not trust you. More so if you were expected to have a certain ability or competence and then do not show it. Of course, this will impact reputation, which will impact trust. And as you can see, everything is connected. For example, let's say you apply for an international job that needs an experienced manager. And once you are hired, you show lack of many people leadership traits and skills. So much so that every team member's performance deteriorates because of you. This will create trust roadblocks with those who made a bet on you during their hiring process. Pro tip: if you are willing to step out of your comfort zone and take on a challenge, make sure people around you know it and are on board with it and can help you quickly close the gap by assisting you in developing that competence. Also, consider priming yourself with all essential skills in the 4 pillars of success of global leadership. If you want to know what they are, watch this video next. Number 7, authentic connections. Similar to intentions, at some point, if your connection is not authentic and purposeful, you will be found out. You can't hide fake emotions forever. What I mean about authentic connection is regarding the emotional aspect and its intent. Every connection has a purpose. I am connecting with you to network will build less trust than I am connecting with you because you work for a company that I admire and I want to learn more. Again, managing expectations is a key skill when it comes to creating authentic connections. The second important point about authentic connections is that who you are connecting with and hanging out with can automatically create or destroy trust. The proverb, "Show me who your friends are, and I will know who you are," exists for that reason. This is called affiliation. Affiliation means who you are hanging out with. If you are hanging out with the troublemakers, you will be seen as a potential troublemaker. If you hang out with scholars, you will be seen as someone who likes to study and learn. Most people think about affiliation as something formal, like I'm affiliated with this political party. When you think about trust, though, focus on the hidden messages you are sending through any type of affiliation, including the informal ones. Pro tip: be real, be clear, and connect with purpose and honesty of intentions. When choosing affiliation and connections, make sure they resonate with your authentic self, ideals, and values. Number 8, contextual communication. How, why, and when we convey a message also plays a significant role in trust building in a global leadership environment. Although the trust building blocks mentioned are pretty universal, how they are expressed can vary depending on cultural context. A culture can lean between high or low context communication patterns. High context cultures rely more on context and implicit cues during communication, while low context cultures rely less on them, making sure everything is spelled out, explicit, and even in writing whenever possible. This means you will have to observe the building blocks that I mentioned in different ways depending on cultural context. Building trust in high context cultures will require a greater effort in understanding implicit messages and second-degree messages, while lower context cultures will require transparency of rules, messages, and expectations as much as possible. But what about trust in multicultural teams? When dealing with multicultural teams, using the lowest context culture patterns as baseline is more effective. The main reasons for this are because understanding context in higher context cultures means you have shared its context before to understand it. Otherwise, implicit messages will be misunderstood. In other words, if you didn't live or immerse yourself in that culture to understand its cues and implicit messages, they will be received as if you came from a lower context culture, even if you actually are from a high context culture. For example, if you are a Mexican who has a higher context cultural pattern engaging with a Chinese who also has a higher cultural pattern, even though both are from the high context cultures, you will still not understand clearly each other's implicit messages or cues. And that's because implicit messages and cues make sense within the same culture, but not necessarily in others. As a global leader managing multicultural teams, you should always create rules of engagement within your team based on a lower context pattern. This means you have to help your team reach the agreement about patterns that would be displayed in a lower context culture. For example, every meeting will be recapped at the end. Tasks will be nominally assigned to individuals. Objectives and the respective tasks will be defined in writing. Deadlines will be spelled out during meetings and then in writing. Clarification questions will be always asked before wrap-ups. Expectations management will be performed even when the individual thinks they understood what's expected. In between the line messages will not count as communication and will not be accepted. If multicultural teams reach an agreement to behave as low context cultures and live up to this task, they can quickly move from storming to performing and work profusely well. And with time, they will create their own cultural context. The manager's role in this effort will be extremely important to mentor higher context communicators to adjust to this new style, as they will always tend to behave with the high context patterns at first. Making it clear to all team members why this change is important becomes crucial. It creates trust within the team in a faster pace, processes become more reliable, and teams more cohesive, misunderstandings are more easily prevented, anxiety levels will lower because everyone will know how they are expected to behave and what to do. As a leader, you also have to realize something super important. Bringing the team to a lower context pattern does not mean that the higher context patterns are bad. Cultural context is not good or bad. Culture is culture. Bringing everyone to the same straightforward context is the same as bringing all your kids at different stages of growth to the pool that the youngest can stand up. You are making sure all your kids can go to the safe pool, where everyone there can stand up and breathe safely while playing. Your job as the global leader is to make sure you bring all your team members to a place of trust and cultural safety. So this is the moral of the story for you. If you want to build trust with someone important, make sure you keep in mind that every interaction counts. Be honest, be reliable, make a great effort to build your reputation over time, set the right intentions, and communicate them clearly. Work on building up your abilities and skills. Make sure every connection is authentic. And last but not least, pay attention to contextual communication. There you go, global leader. Now you know more about trust building in global leadership. I'm Tatyana Fittipaldi, and if you are a growing leader aiming for an international career in big corporations, like and subscribe to our channel. I want to soar the leadership in you. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, I want to tell you one more thing. You are a global leader. The question is, do you have all the skills that you need to succeed? I'd love to help. I save my very best tips for my subscribers. Subscribe for free at coachingexpatriates.com. I know your inbox is sacred, so I promise I will send you emails that you will love.